Iran has reopened the Strait of Hormuz, and this has resulted in a barrage of messages and celebrations from the American President Donald Trump. Now, Abbas Araghchi, in fact, put up this post on social media saying that the strait is open. And he specified that commercial vessels should pass through the coordinated route announced by Iran's ports and maritime organizations. And he also noted that the route is open for the duration of the ceasefire with the United States, which is due to expire on the 22nd of April. The American President Donald Trump has acknowledged Iran's statement. However, he further added that the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports is still in effect. He said that this will remain until the U.S. transaction with Iran is concluded. This likely refers to a peace deal for which another round of talks are expected pretty soon. Now, Trump claims that the process should go quickly and that most of the points are already negotiated.
Blue Sky 4, this is U.S. Navy Warship 115. Request you return to original port of call in Iran. How copy? Over.
Copy, sir. Thank you very much. Copy, sir. Me alter to Iran. Thank you.
And around the time when Trump put out that message, the U.S. Central Command released footage purportedly showing how it was enforcing the blockade. Trump also went on to put up several other social media posts. He thanked Pakistan and the U.S. allies in the Gulf. He criticized the NATO military alliance, calling the alliance to be useless and to be a paper tiger. And he said that it was a great and a brilliant day for the world. Now, Trump also claimed that Iran is in fact working to remove all the sea mines that it had placed in the Strait of Hormuz. He said that it was doing so with American help. And then Trump claimed that Iran had agreed to never close the strait again. Now, Trump put out over 10 social media posts in a span of little more than an hour, so it seems that he believes that a deal is right around the corner. However, there have been some contradictory reports about the contents of any such deal. Trump had recently claimed that Iran had agreed to hand over its enriched uranium to the United States.
Very important is that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that. Iran's agreed to that, and they've agreed to it very powerfully. They've agreed to give us back the nuclear dust that's way underground because of the attack we made with the B-2 bomber. So we have a lot of agreement with Iran, and I think something's going to happen very positive.
Now, Trump has reiterated that claim, and he has added that no money will be changing hands. However, reports citing Iranian sources say that gaps remain to be resolved between the two sides. The report further said that the U.S. had proposed a 20-year suspension of all Iranian nuclear activity during last weekend's talks. But Tehran has suggested a halt of 3 to 5 years. Iran has also demanded that international sanctions on it should be lifted. Iran is also yet to react on Trump's continuation of the U.S. blockade, despite it having declared the Strait of Hormuz to be open. And the reason that Iran has given for the reopening of the strait was the ceasefire in Lebanon between Israel and Hezbollah. However, just hours ago, Israel's defense minister said that its operations in Lebanon were not complete.
We are inside Lebanon in the midst of a war against Hezbollah, with a frozen situation and a 10-day ceasefire. The IDF holds and continues to hold all the locations it has cleared and captured. The ground maneuver into Lebanon and the strikes on Hezbollah throughout Lebanon have achieved many gains, but they are still not complete.
However, Trump has issued a pretty stern rebuke to Israel. He in fact put up a post saying that Israel has been prohibited from bombing Lebanon. He added that enough is enough. We'll have to wait and see if Israel complies and, of course, for how long. Now, Iran and the United States ceasefire is scheduled to end on the 22nd of April. The Israel-Lebanon ceasefire is in place for another 10 days. If either is allowed to expire without a broader deal in place, then the Hormuz Strait could be blocked once again. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. John Rosemondo, who is the president of Viking Research Associates. He is a geostrategist and an expert on national security. Mr. Rosemondo, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, Donald Trump, of course, claims that a deal is very, very close. The Iranians say that the Strait of Hormuz is now open until the ceasefire is in place. That is still the 22nd of this month. In your assessment, how close do you think the two sides are on striking a deal?
Well, it's obvious that there's some deal in the works, because otherwise President Trump wouldn't be posting on social media, nor the Iranian foreign minister saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open to commercial traffic, subject to its regulations, one of which is the end of the U.S. blockade. I think President Trump will declare victory based on his policy of putting the blockade into place. So I think that it remains to be seen what the details are, but the president clearly is optimistic.
Optimistic, but some, of course, would say that a lot of the stuff that Donald Trump puts out as his social media posts is also done for market management, because the minute he started putting out these posts, the price of Brent crude, of course, came down. The stock markets went up. In your assessment, the fact that Donald Trump is talking peace, but on the other hand, he's moving more American top infantry to the Middle East for what could be a bigger showdown, because there's a clear disconnect between what the American president is saying and what the American president is doing. What are we to read in this mixed messaging?
Well, I'm seeing that the president is pursuing multiple contingencies. He's hoping for peace while preparing for war should the Iranians decide not to come through. One of the things about President Trump is he's a master negotiator. He applies pressure to force a concession from the other side. In contrast with some of our more recent presidents like Biden or Obama.
And my final question to you is this. Iran still is in possession of 60% enriched uranium. Trump says that this is in the form of dust after the Americans, of course, used their bunker buster bombs on Iranian nuclear facilities. Trump says that the Americans, in coordination with the Iranians, will go and retrieve that 60% uranium. In your assessment, is this something that the Iranians will agree to?
Well, one thing about the Iranians is they have a habit of lying. They might allow some sort of symbolic removal to get the president to think that they've got it. Meanwhile, they probably have other sites around Iran where they move the enriched uranium. There's rumors about Pickaxe Mountain near Isfahan, which is the likely location of the stockpile that hasn't been retrieved.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Rosmondo, for joining us with that perspective then.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.